Hello, Pisces. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. Okay, you've clicked on the reading, and now it is activated. These are timeless readings. When you watch the reading, it becomes active. Now, I also want to mention that this is recorded on October 31st, 2025, and will be coming out on November 1st, 2025. It is Halloween as I do this reading. So, Pisces, we are in the thinnest part of the veil, right? In those borderlands. And it makes sense to me that we would have the Princess of Discs, right? This is a very strong earth energy, and this is one that is full of potential. If you can see this and notice, on the princess's midsection, it is a little bit rounded, right? So we can see that she is pregnant with life. Now, this doesn't always mean, literally pregnant with a child, but this can mean great inspiration, having the resources to do the work that you need to do, having the willpower, having the access, all things kind of like converging together to create this thing. Whatever it is, if it's a relationship, if it's a household, if it is a literal object, or like, man, I don't know, building a house, whatever it might be, it seems like the universe is working with you. Okay. My fingernails are so dirty. I totally forgot to cut them before the reading. I just realized that. We've been doing so much housework, getting ready for the holidays, and yard work, getting ready for winter, that my fingernails have just been wildly dirty. Okay, let's see. So I want to say thank you for clicking on the reading. If you want to help the channel in any way, I won't ask for money. I'm not asking for money. But if you want to like the channel or like the video, maybe go and watch some of your other placements or the old readings for your sign. There are playlists for each sign. You can look at those on the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, maybe thinking about doing that. And also, if you'd like to leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. It's one of my favorite parts of having a channel. I get to talk to all kinds of really cool people. So, I am going to ask you, I've been asking people on the readings, like, what is your favorite art piece? I love art. It doesn't matter what medium it is, but if you want to share with us what artists do you like, or, the particular piece that you are, have a great fondness for, that would be wonderful. There have been some really great shares on some of the other readings. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to get started. So we have a person who is... And I'm just going to take off my bag here. I'm going to set this right here. I need to take off my bag real quick, because everything is just clinking around. I feel so disheveled today. It is Halloween, so I just have a lot going on, as we all do. And I feel like I'm being pulled in 50 directions. All right, here we go. So we have right here the person standing, and then we have the tree right here. Now we have a bird on top of the tree, and we have a person standing right here. You can see the head. Here's the body, the arm extended up, and it looks like they almost have like maybe some kind of tool, like a knife or a sword or something like this. In the other hand, we have a fish, and then we have a person here kind of kneeling, and beneath them we have, it looks like the tortoise. Here's the head. Here's the body of the tortoise. Here is the person or the animal that's standing on top of that. And then behind them, we have the eye, okay? I want to kind of start here. Let's start with what we've seen so far. So this feeling of a tree being cut down, at least at the top, and a person holding on to the base of it, 100% reads to me as family falling apart, the lineage falling apart, right? A disconnect, or somebody who is actively trying to disrupt, destroy, disband the family. Okay, so somebody causing a lot of problems, somebody, getting in there on purpose, starting feuds between siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, whoever, making everybody kind of pick sides. And I feel like for you, you maybe have already left. You maybe are estranged, or, you moved a few hours away, right? You're close enough you can see them, but not that often, right? You know what I mean? Like, you're there, but you're not. And so I feel like for you, this must be something that is like all of a sudden active again. I almost wonder if there's like, a big family event coming up. There's all these holidays, right? We have all these holidays happening soon. If you partake in holidays, that is, of course. But plenty of reason for people to be, I guess, getting together with friends, family, and so on. And I feel like for you, it's kind of this, I don't even think I want to go this year because, and I see the person sitting on the tortoise, and this indicates to me that you have been working really hard on breaking these cycles, doing the interior work, baby steps, okay? Going slow, in it for the long game, if life were a game, right? And then we have the eye behind, okay? So I do feel that there's this real, moment where you can kind of give yourself a little hug and say thank you to that person that you were, that decided that you weren't going to be in the middle of this anymore. You're going to have your own life. You're going to go out there and see what the world is like. You're going to see how other people live, and decide that, maybe this isn't it. This dynamic my family has, the way that I grew up, maybe this is not it for me, I left home, I was 17, 18, whatever, somewhere in there, 19, I guess. No, I was 18. And, like a lot of people do, but I left. I never went back. And it wasn't easy, It was actually very difficult. I had to go out in the world all by myself, really ill-prepared. Part of that's my own fault. Part of that's just the way I was raised, right? It was not an easy childhood. But it's funny. I mean, I don't know how funny it really is, but I do always find myself very much attracting people into my life, or I am attracted into other people's lives that have had the same kind of struggles. Because the deal is, we all have our issues when we're young. We all have families that are insane, right? But some rise to a level that other people can't understand. And I feel like you have maybe had the experience of somebody minimizing your, trauma, honestly, or the mistreatment or just the difficult childhood. Maybe it wasn't necessarily like overt mistreatment, but it could be neglect, which is as insidious, if not more, right? So I feel that as you are looking at this situation and it's playing out and your family is fighting and everybody's kind of in a tizzy, you can really like stop and pat yourself on the back and say, thank you for taking care of me. Thank you for investing There's a really loud sound. I don't know what it is. Thank you for investing in our future, right? Thank you for having the foresight to make sure that things are as good as they can be for you, which is sometimes, like maybe not going fully no contact, right? But like having space so that you can evolve as a being, okay? So you can, like I said, go live out in the world and, meet people and see how things are different, have varying opinions. And honestly, I think that that's one of the most helpful things for unlocking ourselves from those difficult beginnings. I'm trying to think of a way to say it that's not too terrible, but, and I do, and I think that's what it is for you. Now, I also believe that somebody within the family is withholding money. That's the person with the sword that's causing the problems, holding the fish. It's like they stay in power within this dynamic by having money or resources and holding them over everybody's heads. So that's not ideal. And I can see that it's something that you just refuse to be a part of. So we have the name Gary. It looks like Gary. It could be Barry as well. Barry? Do you know a Barry? I don't think I know a Barry. Do I know a Barry? If I know a Barry and you're watching this, let me know. We also have, it looks like KY up here. I'm trying to see what this one is. It looks like let's see. Mark? It looks like Mark. 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 So here we have, it looks more like a dreamscape. We have, it looks like the high priest, and this is the head in this kind of kneeling. This would be where the legs are kneeled. And this is the upper body with arm extended out, like giving some kind of offering. A posture of devotion, surrender and devotion. Now we have people down here communing. We have two feminine beings here, and this one feels like a feminine being too, also holding, it looks like a seeing glass. So maybe somebody within your life who is a seer of some kind, somebody who probably, as you think of them, you are saying, yeah, I know somebody who's clairvoyant, who's a medium, who is really psychic. Now, they might not do this for work, but I think that you're acutely aware of the fact that they are really plugged in. They're tuned in, right? And so I feel like in this time, there is a sense of maybe even coming into your own abilities through communing with this person and maybe even working with them to help develop those psychic abilities and or the connection to spirit. And I do see that being, and because we have the Hierophant, being kind of the work you find in the wilderness. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I do feel that you are coming up on a period of time where you're maybe feeling very disconnected, maybe even feeling uninspired, not really knowing like what you find interesting or what you want to do. You're just kind of going through the motions, and probably on top of that feeling kind of bad that you just can't get it together. And I'm the same way. I'm absolutely the same way. Although I always have to remind myself these periods of incubation are some of the most important, right? This is where we are releasing some of the stuff we've been working on or we have been carrying around with us. We are coming to a point where it just doesn't necessarily translate to where you're at right now. So you get into this stage where you're feeling like, I'm kind of aimless. I feel kind of listless. I maybe feel a little melancholy. Now, if it is the case that you are starting to feel some depression, or like I said, melancholy, anxiety, any of these kinds of things, please, and I want you to hear me now, please reach out to somebody, okay? The world is becoming increasingly unstable, or at least our perception, right? Especially if you are consuming news media, on social media in general, things are not good for a lot of people. Things might even be pretty troubled for you. We must remind ourselves the world is always in chaos. The universe is always in chaos, right? It doesn't always go our way, and I mean that collectively. And the torments of the human condition and humanity in general are not easy to ignore. And I understand that. But I am a firm believer that the way that we change anything is by doing the work within our own lives, doing the work within our own selves. Now, there are people that go out there in the world and they, they're activists, they advocate for people, they are involved in social matters or community things, and that's wonderful. These are people that, are born to serve. Now, you and I, Pisces, I'm a Virgo. You're a Pisces, obviously. Although you are a very altruistic person, I think by nature, you're not necessarily like the person that's going to be volunteering all the time, right? Let's just be real. So there is another way, and it is as important or even more important, in my opinion, okay? Because we can try to save people all day long. We can try to help people all day long, and I think that's really necessary. Let me be clear here. This is necessary, but it is not a replacement for doing the interior work. Whatever that looks like, healing, breaking generational abuses, traumas, so on. Doing all kinds of different there's so many kinds of therapies, right? Individuation, getting into magical systems, doing the different techniques, getting into yoga, tantra, breath work, whatever it is, all of these kinds of things that we do with ourselves that literally change us. I mean, they do. They change the makeup of what we are. Mind, body, spirit. This is where, in my opinion, and let me just say, in my opinion, this is where we change the world. because the lasting change is always going to be within self. We can move things around in the shared world all day long, and that's fine, right? Reorganize, fix, put a Band-Aid, whatever. But where we really need to, work within self. Okay? Rising, helping higher the vibration, right? The frequencies going on up. So, I feel like for you that it's just sometimes it can feel kind of lonely. And also, you might have a little bit of that like imposter syndrome feeling, or that, why am I doing this? Because it doesn't, there's not a lot of like immediate output, you don't have evidence it's doing anything. For example, for me, when I really like years ago decided I'm going to make prayer part of my daily routine, right? Among other rituals and things as well, but I thought prayer would be really important. Now, I'm not going to sit here and like define prayer versus like other ways of talking to the divine, but I will be clear here in that this is not making appeals. I'm not talking about, asking for help or guidance or whatever, which is also fine. That's also, I do that as well. But prayers, praying for others, right? Praying for the world, praying for the universe, giving thanks, honoring the divine, whatever that looks like for you. Spending time quietly in that bond, in that place of, connection, right? If you could think of it being like a chamber within your heart that you go into, and there is ultimate love. It just flows through you. It's like having a hug with the only person or the only thing that could ever make you feel truly safe. So, I do feel that in this next period of time, you're going to be reforming some bonds with the divine, with people in your life, by stepping back a little bit and giving yourself the space to go into those areas that you really do want to develop, which is, very clear to me. Your psychic abilities, or some kind of, I don't know, maybe you're a healer. Maybe you are a creative, making beautiful things, reflecting the universe. But whatever it is, you're going to be doing it alone a lot in the next little while. That's not sad, though. It's not a sad thing. Honestly, low-key, nobody can hear me right now, but I'm still going to whisper. Jealous. I love having a family. Don't get me wrong. I love it. We've just been so busy lately and doing a lot of stuff, like running around together to events and things. And, sometimes, right? Just like if I could just have like 2 weeks out in the, middle of nowhere, off the grid, just completely me, the sky, the trees, the water, the dirt, hopefully no bears. Well, hopefully a bunch of bears, but not near me, right? That sounds amazing. Now, that's not always accessible to us, right? And sometimes we just walk through our lives as we do any other day with our families and our people around us, and yet we are in that hermit mode. And that's where I feel like you're at. Okay? Not that you can't connect, but just that your vital energies are kind of focused on the work at hand. Okay. All right, so it looks like we have a person in a boat, and then over here we have a person standing. Their arm is raised towards the sky. Right here, it looks like the sun. We have a little rose right here, and we have a person kind of sitting here, also raising their arm to the sky. Over here, we have what it looks like the temple to me. So I do feel, and also, oh, what does this say? Dan? D-A-N. Dan. To me, this feels like a reestablishment of a deep connection through this work. So I could see this kind of changing you. Like you're going through a very profound transmutation, okay? And I feel like this change that you're undergoing, that you are partaking in, it's not just like pulling you down the stream. No, you are partaking in this intentionally. But as this thing changes, I feel like maybe you're like a little nicer. Not that being nice is important. I'm not. Listen, people on here, you guys hear me and I sound very like bubbly and stuff. And I am. And I like to be funny. I'm not always nice though. I'm kind. I strive to be a kind person. But I don't really like performing nice as much. It's part of like, the social dance that isn't my favorite. I don't like it because it feels false sometimes. I don't know. I guess you could be purely nice for sure. But that to me is like kindness. To just be nicey nice, I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyways, I feel that you are in a place of openness. You're vulnerable. Your eyes are wide open. Your heart is opening. And I feel like there is a profound love story emerging here. Now, this might be somebody you're already married to. This might be somebody new. This might be somebody that exists within the physical realm, and maybe not. Maybe you have an interior beloved. I don't know. But what I do think is that everything is coming into alignment for you. There is a sense of stability, and that's the big thing. Stability. There's also a sense of being able to receive compliments. I don't know. That just literally, I could see that I don't always see words in my mind's eye, but I could see receive compliments, like right there. So maybe you are somebody I feel like you really don't like criticism, which is fine. I hate that too. When I went to college and I was, studying, it was kind of like a weird crossover thing that I was trying to do, like printmaking, and and I'm old, so you have to realize this is like the beginning of the thousands when everything we were doing in school like shortly became completely outdated and obsolete. So I wanted to do printmaking and focus on like advertising, making flyers and that kind of stuff, or merch or whatever. And it was fun. It was fun. But what was I don't even know what I was getting to. Printmaking. Where were we going? Everything in its right place. I was visualizing the school and I got lost in it. I don't know. I lost it. You guys. If you know what I was going to say, put it in the comments. But I do feel like there is this real sense of, with the openness, with the love kind of flowing in, there obviously is going to be Probably like very inspired. Here's the thing though, we have the person reaching out for the sun right there. And to me, that's all about truth, or at least the perception of something that might be what we call true, right? Finding something that is meaningful, finding something that feels like something to you, okay? And to me, that's about as close to truth as we can get. I don't necessarily believe in a truth, especially empirical truths. But I do believe that, some of us do believe that there are things that are true, on many different levels and from different perspectives and so on and so forth. So I do feel like it's like you're looking for this revelation, this illumination, and maybe it is obtainable here through this relationship, this love. And really, I don't necessarily think that it's about like the love connection with this person. And I think that's important for sure. But what I think is the super important thing is that you are with somebody, or you are courting somebody, or you are meeting somebody, or you yourself are your own spouse, basically, right? Your anima animus. This relationship allots you, let me get to the word, I know it, allots you the ability to do the work at all, right? So I know that like I am very privileged because I have been able to live my life, sometimes it was very rough, and I was very poor, very poor, but to always be dedicated to the magical work. I don't know how that has happened for me, but I have always been able to make it it's a main part of my life. It's not like a thing I do on the weekends. I do it every day, and I live as a practitioner. I mean, it's innately woven into my life, right? And I grew up around it. I have continued to do it. I come from a long line of practitioners of varieties. But it just feels like I feel like for you it's like clicking into place, where at times it has felt like it was so difficult, like you were just getting so close, and then you felt like you had found something that was real and true to you. It's like when you I don't know if you're somebody who has had any religion in your life, it's like when you find like the particular mosque or church or temple that feels like your community, feels like your spiritual home, or an extension of it anyways. And you go in there and you feel held. You feel like this is where God is, right? This is where I can meet and we can commune with one another. And having that is profound. Right? So then when you step into that in your own life, and it's not tied to any system or person or a place, but it is that you are living within this, holy life. Everything around you is a temple or part of your temple, right? The potential is unlimited at that point. So I do feel that this is a great rising for you, my dearest Pisces. Now, we're going to do our lucky numbers. Let's set you there. I don't want you to fall, though. Please be careful. Number 8. 21. So we have 8, 21, and 31. Very nice. Very nice. All right. That's going to be it, Pisces. I love you. I love you. I love you. Please take care of yourself. I hope that if you are, if you did partake in any of the Halloween, Day of the Dead, Samhain, I don't know. There's probably other ones. I need to just make a list of all of these feasts and holidays, although it would never end because every day there are many, many feasts. And there are so many religions, old and new, and practices, old and new. So it could go on forever, right? If we step outside of the Abrahamic 3. But, yeah, if you partook or you are partaking, I hope that you are well. Take care of yourself. Take care of everybody around you. We only have each other, after all. So anyways, I love you. We'll talk soon. Good night.